there's probably a few things from last episode that I could talk about before we get into this one, but I actually kind of just want to, I guess, vent or muse for a moment instead. Uh, just about some things that are, I guess, a little annoying to me when I notice them. Uh, for the past month or so, I've noticed several reaction channels that have like just now started reacting to Dungeon Meshi, and it's just again, it's just a little annoying to me when I see things like this happen because again, were it not for the incredibly fickle and inconsistent way that the copyright system on YouTube works, I wouldn't just be doing these reaction series as watch-along series. I would be doing them as, regular reactions, both, Dungeon Meshi and Freerun and the other things that I've tried on this channel so far. I would be doing them as regular reactions, not just watch-along reactions. Um, and I would probably have gotten pretty decent views based on things that I've seen from other reaction channels who are, again, only recently reacting to Dungeon Meshi because it wasn't on their radar. They needed to be basically be told by their audiences that it is a show worth watching. And I've also seen some channels reacting to Freerun somewhat recently that, again, probably just weren't really in touch with the anime community and weren't really aware that it was a show, and they've been getting again just really good views on these videos, and I could have been getting in on these views before them when there was, even less of these kinds of videos available for people to be watching when they wanted to be seeing this kind of content. And it's just again, it's kind of annoying. It's just a little annoying, it's a little disappointing, and it's frustrating, and like there's not really anything to be done about it, right? Like I have another reaction channel that I tried reacting to shows like this, doing again these kind of reactions that tons of other channels put out with no problems, but I simply couldn't. I faced copyright issues time and time and time again, no matter how I tried to change up the language that I used in the appeals and the disputes, no matter how I tried to change the editing style, no matter how I tried to like shorten and remove things and so it's just I don't know. I wanted to I guess I just wanted to get that off my chest a little bit. Maybe I'm just in a bit of an anti-content creator mood at the moment for a couple of different reasons that I'm not really going to get into. But yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into episode 16 of Dungeon Meshi, shall we? Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh god. And I didn't put my headphones on. It's fine though, because it's just the OP. It's just the OP. I'm not missing anything super, not missing anything new, anything crazy. And while we're sitting through the OP, actually, oh god, I hate how my hair looks right now, being pushed to the sides. Oh well. Oh well. Yeah, this is one of the things that I don't like is having my hair somewhat longer and trying to make it look decent behind headphones. I'm just gonna hate how I look this video. It's fine. Um, Anyways, while we're sitting through the OP, one thing I actually can mention from last episode real quick that I noticed on rewatch that is it's a silly thing, so we can get through it here real quick. Um, while they were eating the like little like cabbage cakes or whatever they were called and the dryad pumpkin soup, there was a moment where Marcel was like explaining something to someone, and then she goes to take a bite, and if you look, the thing that she takes a bite of is one of the mandrake heads. And I just think that's such a fun little touch because maybe she did it accidentally, maybe she did it intentionally, but it's just really funny because back in the first mandrake episode, Senshi tried to give her the heads as an offering because like they're so tasty. And she was like, I'm not eating that. But then we see her several episodes later having done just that. Okay, Senshi. And they are still lost in this area, by the way. Okay, they're learning how these reorganizations and reorderings work, but like how much time are they gonna waste here? Oh god, my throat's awful. Wait, what? That looks horrifying. That was horrifying. Wait, what? Oh, this is really interesting. Since he started using magic, he's getting more in touch with spirits. That's really cool. I get that that's like what they're starting to explain right now, but ow. What is I feel like I'm missing something. Did I is this the second half of the episode? Did I skip why? Why is this episode starting so visceral? What? Is that why the blood is gone? Oh. Oh. They're what do you mean they're not monsters? They're like bugs. Okay, it's a little gross, but it is also like super fascinating. Is So these things are what, like your white blood cells, I guess, by that comparison? How does it Okay. I'm not even sure where to take that topic. That's just such a fascinating concept. I don't know. Huh. I don't Yeah, I don't really know what to say about that other than just it's really cool. Oh no. What are they up to? What is this goofy mute? Oh, what? Ah, oh, she. I just naturally assumed that they meant they were going to cook something too, but I think Marcial's assumption was also fair. And depetrification herbs. Ah, my throat. I'm going to have to silence a lot of throat clearing for this video. I hate the squishy eggs. It's just so weird. Wow, I was going to comment on how they were not giving very much budget to this particular meal prep, but then they threw some fucking polish on that egg. Marcial, take the frog costume off. Uh, but can you? Should you? I feel like. Well, I guess at least Laos is trying it first. It's gonna be. Good. Yeah, it should be awful. It's a fucking brick. Oh my god. Wait, is this? Those people are from Shiro's group, right? What is? I was gonna say, I think it's Shiro's people. I don't think it's a monster. Its art style is, oh my god. Did they think she was a monster? Oh my god, they thought the party was monster. These people are dense. These people are dense. He's so excited to see him. He's bouncing. Did you lose weight? I did note in the previous episode where we saw him that he looked. It's a little less prominent here, I think, but like you can still kind of see he looks kind of sunken, gaunt. I guess they haven't been eating delicious dungeon food. Oh my god, he kept eating the brick. Oh, and yeah, Kaburu's group is here too. That's should have expected. I half expected him to like turn and like immediately attack him after that introduction. I don't know. We've seen that this kid can be a little deranged. Good question. Is that all? He is so perceptive. I really like this character. Yeah, it's a lot further than you guys got. Okay, chill, Chuck. Okay. He's kind of right. She is still wearing the frock suit. Oh, he's out. Okay. Oh, okay. Chill Chuck saying what I've been saying. You should get food and sleep, you know. Okay. And this is kind of like I feel like this is kind of like one of the big points of the show thus far. She is way too excited to make some food. Rice. Oh boy. Frog woman. Oh, we are gonna get some very different dynamics, aren't we? Who's more dangerous if left alone? Kudos. You didn't even consider Marcel. That's that's nice, but I was expecting a similar thing of her, like with him over exaggerating her affinity for black magics. Good plot synopsis, Laos. He could work for Spark Notes. Yes, Kabru. As far as we know. Well, a few things. And he used some crazy magics. Well, he also got lucky. Interrogate elsewhere, Kabru. Yes. That's fair. That, that's me. His priorities are maybe a little out of order with that question, but it's fair. Also, if I'm not mistaken, I feel like in that shot we just saw of him, I think it was even showing that his like nails were super long. Oh, he's absolutely charmed. She ate part of it too. I think that's worth mentioning, honestly. Why is the cleaners? I was gonna say, I wonder if he's like actually interested or if he's just like putting on his facade of like trying to. Yeah, okay. That answers that question. Not a clue. We have befriended the orcs. Kabru trying to follow the conversation as well as he can. Oh, that's one of his it's one of the things that kind of sets him off, doesn't it? When people don't adventure the way that he wants them to. You also don't know much about this guy. Oh, he actually asked, okay. Huh. Some good presence of mind, I think, from Laos. Oh god, what's Senshi doing without her realizing? I hope he's doing some crazy monster ingredient. That was the word I was trying to think of. Jesus. Some crazy monster ingredient preparation without her realizing. You call this a. Oh, wow. Yeah. Look at him before they left on this mission. Significant difference in appearance. Wow. Oh, they're washing their rice. Wow. What a corny line. No, I think he believes it. I believe he believes it. I don't have anything to say about that. What a plain looking meal compared to everything we've had thus far. It looks downright normal. We were asked to step aside. Oh, he's gonna be pissed, isn't he? Whoa! Oh, nice save, Senshi. I'm guessing he's probably too weak to actually do anything, though, at the moment. I don't believe you. I bet this one was listening in. Yep. Well, he didn't specifically, but. What? Oh, so you would have just let her stay dead then? So maybe we shouldn't spread this information around then. Or has he misjudged you? He is enthralled. At first, I thought he was enthralled just by the prospect of, oh dear. Oh! Oh. There were some. That silhouette. Huh. Okay. Okay, 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 okay. What? Okay. No after credits thing, right? Surely not? Okay, no. No after credits thing. All right. First and foremost, I'm going to take my headphones off because I have been seeing the way that my hair looks off to the side this entire time over in my OBS recording, and I've been hating it. I said at the beginning that I was probably going to hate how I looked for this entire video, and I was correct. I did hate how my hair looked for that entire video. Okay. All right. First thing, I guess just to complete the thought that I was having towards the end of the episode there. Oh jeez. Regarding Kabru was I thought he was so interested, seemingly so interested because just the prospect of just because the prospect of, you know, the mage from Laos's party being capable of like that level of magic. I thought that that was the thing that was interesting to him. But then, as we got another line or two further in his inner monologue, um, it seemed like more so what was interesting to him was just the way that this was causing drama. Is this little fucker a drama whore? Like it seemed almost like he was kind of thriving on the fact that this was generating interpersonal conflict. No, did I read that situation correctly? That was kind of what I was getting from him. After again, initially I thought it was just the magic thing, but then I think it was what the magic was causing was the thing that he was actually interested in was how I ended up reading that situation by the end of it. um, and also, actually, I guess this is probably worth pointing out. I think that it is interesting that we're getting Kabru's inner monologues. Like, I feel like the I feel like the show, in recognizing how complex and deep of a character Kabru is, they want to make sure that that is fully coming across to the audience. And so we're getting insight into his internal monologues in a way that isn't really typical, I think. Like I'm trying to like quickly think back now like the extent to which we like actually get glimpses into other characters' thoughts, and I don't think it's a super common occurrence. I feel like off the top of my head, the only things that are coming to mind is like a couple of times where we get Marcial's inner thoughts, and it's usually as part of like a joke. It's usually as part of like a like, oh god, this is some, ridiculous thing that Senshi and Laos are doing again. And I'm sure there are other instances, but to my immediate recollection, it's not a super common thing. And so I think it's very interesting that they are doing it fairly extensively, I think, in this episode with Kabru. Again, just to make sure that like we as the audience are fully understanding like how do I say this? That the way he's acting, but that what we're seeing on the surface isn't that there's more to it, I guess. It might maybe I should just say it that simply, that there's more to Kabru than what we are seeing from him on the surface, which, a lot of people, a lot of characters, like people and characters, people in real life and characters in media, a lot of times, like, they are relatively upfront with like why they're saying certain things, why they're doing certain things, and if there are any sorts of like ulterior motives, usually we'll learn about that like as kind of like an aside later, where they're like either talking to another character about like, oh well, I'm actually doing this because of these reasons, or like maybe they'll have like an external monologue is not uncommon, and it's like, it's one of those things where sometimes when you see characters having external monologues in order to convey information to the audience, there has to be a little bit of a suspension of disbelief in order to like understand like, why is this character saying this? Who are they saying it to? So I really like the way that the show is giving us a ton of additional information about Kaburu, because like they want us to recognize just how deep this character is. Like they want us to recognize like he's thinking about things in a way and to an extent that most other characters just simply aren't, in my opinion. And that's just really cool to see. I think it's, again, I said it earlier. I just and I also talked about it a bit, during the kind of the episode that was like almost exclusively about Kaburu's party. Like he's such an incredible character, I think. And I am so glad that they have kind of continued with, it's not like a hard focus and emphasis on him, but they are making sure that the role he's played in this episode, at least, he's not being neglected, if that makes sense. Like again, he's not like, they're not like pushing him towards like having more screen time than someone like Laos or Shuro, or any of the other dynamics that we saw briefly. But just again, the way that they are showing us like, here's what he's thinking about, this conversation that he's having, like here's these thoughts that he's having, like here's, the motivations that are fueling this particular behavior that he's engaging in. Like that's just adding so much to a character that I already kind of fell in love with again after that previous episode that we had with him and his party. And I want to see more of it, because like I wouldn't say that he has supplanted Marcel as my favorite character, but I think that he has very quickly become like my second favorite character, despite the relatively little screen time we've gotten with him. Like even after that full episode, like it's like we've still seen way less of him, time wise, than we have of like Laos or Senshi or Chilchuk. And it should be obvious, but let me just like make it abundantly clear that like I don't dislike those characters. I just think that Kaburu is like really, I really like his character. I really like what we've seen from his character so far, and yeah, the way that they handled him this episode was just also amazing, and I am very much looking forward to seeing more of him. But I mentioned that I wanted to finish that thought from towards the end of the episode, but that was not actually how we ended that episode. There was something else that happened at the very end of that episode, wasn't there? And I need to be honest. I need to be honest. I learned about this show from Tumblr, right? I've said that before, that I learned that I kind of, the reason that I kind of got the idea of like being big on this show was because this show is like really popular on Tumblr. I've seen things, a lot of which was out of context from this show, so I did go into it knowing relatively little. But one thing that I did kind of know is that Fallen does develop some sort of a monster form. I did know that. The cards on the table, I did know about that. However, I didn't know how. I didn't know why. I didn't know when. I didn't know how significant that was going to be in the story. I didn't know when it was going to come up, where it was going to come up, how it was going to come up, why it was going. I didn't know all of the reasons behind it. I just knew that it was a thing. And so seeing that, while seeing it actually kind of happen in the show was something. It it's different than just seeing some screenshots or seeing some gifs or whatnot, but I did kind of know that that was coming at some point. And that's also why there were some moments previously in like the dealings with her resurrection and using the materials from the Red Dragon and like when the Mad Maid showed up. That was kind of why there were times where like certain things that were happening, I didn't really want to comment on them too much because to an extent it's like, okay, I can assume that some of these things are related to this piece of information that I had, right? I think I could reasonably make that assumption, and it seems to be seems to be true, seems to be the case to some extent, but I didn't want to force making those connections before the story had the chance to like actually reveal the information to me, and I do think that it was good of me to do that because like we just now kind of got the sort of soft reveal. I'm guessing there's going to be like a big reveal later when, our party sees what we just saw. um, but I think that trying to, talk, I think trying to have talked about it, something about the grammar in that sentence is wrong. Anyways, um, back during the Red Dragon episodes just would have been inappropriate because yeah, like that clearly the show wanted to take its time with with building up to this reveal. And there's still more to be done with this plot point of whatever happening to her. And so yeah, I did want to say that like, it was cool to see that. I wasn't like faking my reaction to like actually seeing it happen for for myself in the show, but at the same time, I did kind of know that was coming. So just wanted to put that out there. Now then, as for what this actually means, because again, I don't know all of the context surrounding like what this means in terms of like relevance to the story. God, what does it mean in terms of relevance to the story? I don't know. I think honestly, more so than her being some kind of monster, I guess. Um, I think more so than that, I think the thing that I actually find more compelling at the moment about her situation is actually the fact that she seems to be a bit like mind controlled still. She's the only thing that we heard from her just there at the end was, the was Lord Delgal, which is, that's the Mad Mage instructed her, to search out Lord Delgar. Like that, I think he said that was the mission I gave you. Because he's equating Fallen to presumably the Red Dragon. And yeah, I think the fact that she doesn't really seem to be in her right mind, that she doesn't seem to have her wits about her, and that she is either the monster is like the monster part of her is like controlling her actions and behaviors to an extent, or she's again just sort of being mind controlled and she's kind of like being puppeteered at the moment through magic. I think that that is actually more interesting to me than the fact that she is physically an actual monster to some extent. Because yeah, I don't know. I think that while her being a monster obviously creates some complications, so to speak, in terms of her relationship with the party members. I think that I think that yeah, I don't know. I just think that I think that someone being, how to say this, distance and strain on a relationship caused by mental factors, I would typically say are more significant and have a greater capacity for complexity than physical issues. Does that make sense? if you're not really sure what I am trying to say with that, then I guess try to ask me for some specific points of clarification in the comments, and I will do the best that I can to respond. But yeah, I guess that's kind of what I mean with that. So yeah, that's that. And then also getting back to one of the one of the points that I don't think I necessarily got to finish during the reaction, which is that what we saw this episode through Shuro was kind of like one of the main points I feel of the story so far. And I think that there's like any good story, there's a lot of points to Dungeon Meshi. I feel like there's a lot of different things you can glean from the story, from the characters, from yada 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 yada. But I think one of the main points, especially talking about like surface level, like things that are happening and how you should interpret the way that things are happening, is that regardless of how urgent a situation is, like you need to take care of yourself. Like Senshi was, I think, no, not Senshi, Laos. Laos was like pretty direct when he was like, you need to give your body food and rest in order for your body to be capable of doing the things that you want it to do. And that's something that I think is pretty easy to forget, even when you're not like, an adventurer who's out doing, physical adventuring. Just like in life, I feel like it's pretty easy to forget sometimes, especially when you feel like you have something important to do, when you feel like you have something urgent to do, something pressing to do. It can be easy to forget that, like, you need to give yourself the ability to actually do the things you want to do. And yeah, it's like, people talk about like some of the ways that people try to remind folks to take care of themselves that I've seen is like, you can't pour from an empty glass or from an empty jug, whatever jug, pitcher, glass, however you want to call it. Like, you can't pour from an empty glass. If you don't have anything to give, then trying to force yourself to give something is not going to work. And I've actually seen somewhat recently folks take that sort of analogy a step further, which is that, like, if you try to pour from an empty glass, nothing comes out. It just doesn't really amount to anything happening. I've seen folks take that a step further and say that, and I personally, as someone with health issues especially, I really like this step further, which is you can't boil an empty kettle. Like, whether it's, like a tea kettle, water kettle for, like whether it's an electric kettle or like one that you put on the stove, like you can't boil an empty kettle. And I like that analogy better because it's not just that nothing will happen. Again, if you try to pour from an empty glass, nothing happens. You try to boil an empty kettle, you're gonna start a fucking fire. You're gonna cause even more problems. And that's kind of what we see here. Shuro is trying to, go as fast as he can, be breakneck pace. He's trying to, rescue Fallen. And what do we actually see happen? We see him running himself ragged, not being effective. He did not get to this floor first. He did not get to the Red Dragon first. He did not get to Fallen first. Laos's party did. The party that has been stopping frequently to take breaks, to eat food, to get rest. They got there first. Shuro has been running himself ragged. Chilchuck commented that he looks gaunt. He commented when he collapsed, that, and Laos was like, and what was like, oh God, are you okay? Like, Chilchuck commented, like, you didn't notice? He looks awful. Like, his condition is terrible. I commented on it multiple times previously. Chilchuck commented on it. We see it having a direct detrimental effect on him in this episode. And I just think that that's like a really cool message to have been telling with this story, is that, like, the way that this party has been taking breaks, like, that's what you need to do in order to, like, be successful, in order to thrive, in order to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. You need to take care of yourself along the way, because if you don't, you're likely to cause yourself problems. How long are we? About 45 minutes at the moment. Cut out a little bit of that because I think I messed up. No, actually, I got the intro pretty solidly this video. Um, okay, so I don't need to force too many more topics of conversation, but I guess just one thing more that I do want to say, and this shouldn't be too much too lengthy of a conversation piece, I don't think, is just that now that we have all of these different groups together, we have Shiro's party, we have Kaburu's party, we have Laos's party, all together. I don't care what happens next episode. I want to see inter-party communications. I don't care if it's necessarily conflict, like the kind of stuff that we got between Shiro and Laos in this episode, where especially towards the end, where Shiro was holding a sword to Laos's neck. Although thinking about it, that's probably where we're going to pick up next episode. So we're probably going to get some pretty immediate conflict going into the next episode. So that's pretty cool. But I don't really care what we're doing, what we're talking about, how we're engaging with each other. I just want to see different people from these different groups interacting. That's something that I've talked about multiple times thus far, right? That's something that I've already said, like, in a couple of different episodes at least, that like I want to see what happens when we get these different groups, these different factions, these different adventuring parties, like actually coming together. I want to see how they communicate. I want to see how they clash, because the way that personalities in this show thus far have been executed on in terms of the way that they play off of each other has been really good. I've talked about it since probably episode 4, episode 5. It's been for a while. There was some point pretty early on where I already started talking about the fact that like seeing the dynamics and the way the dynamics were being handled was like really superb, and I just wanted to see like more of those, and I wanted to see more like crosses and mismatches of like different people interacting with different other people in order to see more of these dynamics being explored. And so now that we've got all of these people basically in the same room, please give me an episode where we get a lot of that stuff. That's what I want to see. That's again, that what did I talk about that for? 2-3 minutes? That's all I want to say, is that I want to see a lot of that kind of stuff in the next episode or two. I want to see a lot of these different kinds of interactions, and yeah, I feel like there's just so much potential for so much cool stuff to happen. And I don't know. That's something that I want to see. I am a huge fan of ensemble cast series when they are done well. A show that I previously tried to get a few people into, and I get that it's just not really for everyone, and it's a little disappointing to me that more people don't really enjoy or appreciate shows like this, because it's admittedly a little confusing and can be considered all over the place. And I've seen some people legitimately just say they think it requires too much thinking. I really like the anime Dorarara, and some people like Baccano more. Baccano's all right. I prefer Dorarara personally, but yeah, that's just like an example of like an ensemble series that I think is pretty decent at being an ensemble series. And so yeah, now that we are getting to the point where we are potentially going to start entertaining having an ensemble cast for this series, I'm just so interested, so curious to see where we go from here. So with that, we're gonna end the video. Remember to like the video. If you've been watching for these almost 50 minutes, then I assume you've been enjoying it. So hit me with that thumbs up. I think I kind of forgot. I keep forgetting to talk about that now that I had a small break of recording, and so I've not been mentioning it at the beginning of videos, and I have already noticed that the likes have not been coming through as heavily as the past few where I did mention it at the beginning. So give me a like on the video. Give me a comment as well. I do enjoy seeing comments. They are not only good for the algorithm, they are good for my mental, frankly speaking. I like seeing comments on videos. And obviously subscribe if you aren't already. I'm pretty sure that this channel is like most of the people who are watching, at least most people who are watching to the end, are probably subscribers. But if you made it this far in the video and you're not a subscriber, then you probably should be. And yeah, until I see you in the next one, take care. Bye bye.